Yes, he did.
The maple leaf flag. Good pace. Are you serious? Oh my goodness! Glorious and free!
I'll meet one of these two Europeans. It never looked like he was getting there. But it's there, it's right in the middle. Look at Rahman now, it's over.
He's all the way back. Kepka conquers the PGA at Oak Hill.
Brilliant to the end. And on Seve's birthday, Spain reigns again at Augusta. And John Ram is the Masters champion.
Hello, welcome to Putting for Dough Show, the PGA DFS show. Nick has not made the cut this week, so it's a two-ball of me and famous Jack Humphrey. How are we doing, Jack?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. He's decided to go and watch the mighty Wigan in the freezing cold. I suspect,
we know our place. We know our place. So, Jack, before we get talking about some proper golf stuff, I've alluded to this introduction. Famous Jack Humphrey, because you were getting shouted out left, right, and centre on big golf shows last week. Yeah.
Yeah, I was. Yes. So, Mr. Rick Rungood shouted me out, and Mr. Pat Mayo shouted me out as well. So,
it must have been emotional when Pat Mayo gave you a shout out.
It was. I'm big time now, Mark. So
yeah,
I'm moving on to bigger and better things. As they say.
I know. I won't be even. I won't even make the cut next week. So other than that, how was last week? A tournament which I know you love and enjoy. 3 courses, 3-round cut, etc., etc. How did you get on?
Yeah, it was a good week. Good week all round. Solid profit yet again. Double ups remain king. I had a 6 or 6 in my cash yet again. My core in the newsletter went free for free as well. A couple of the sexy sixers come through on that as well. So it was a good week for the newsletter there. You're right. It's a course, and it's 3 courses that I don't particularly enjoy, and it's an event I don't particularly enjoy. I thought a 13 under cut was absolutely ridiculous, and people know my thoughts. I don't think there's a place for that on the PGA Tour anymore. But thankfully, this week we're going to go to a golf course I love, and it will not be 13 under par cut. It might be a 13 under par winning score.
Yeah, as you said to me when we were discussing some sort of reviewing stats, results, process, and stuff, you said, Mark, there's not much to be learned from this week, the week just gone.
As John Rahm finally put it, it's a fucking piece of shit putting contest.
So the fact I didn't do as well as you, I took consolation in that.
I did win the host league. I absolutely dominated you both.
Destroyed it. Absolutely destroyed it. I mean, it doesn't matter when the cut was for that one. Me and Nick were it was embarrassing. It's like we had two of 6 through and you had 6 of 6.
678, I think my score was.
Yeah, great score. Like that, really. I mean, they're all good scores if you got a 6 through. I saw actually a 5 out of 6 came second in the big tournament last week, which is interesting. I doubt anybody we know had Nick Dunlap.
No.
Funnily enough, I didn't have enough there wasn't enough history of, stats history on Rick Rungood for me to really use him or look at him in any way. So that was interesting. Also, something that doesn't always happen. 3rd place, Xander outscored 2nd place Seabez as well. From a fantasy point of view. So
yeah, that was weird. I was a little bit annoyed. So I've been playing PGA DFS a little bit different to what I have been over the years this year. So I'm basically still playing the double ups. Love my double ups, as everyone knows for golf. But I've started playing the $1.20 max. So I've been putting 20 teams into that. Just mixing a few things up, playing around with it week by week. I actually got to quite a lot of Sam Burns last week in that. I think I had probably about 65% Sam Burns. I locked Scotty Scheffler in, who was awesome in the last round there. But I got to quite a lot of Sam Burns, and he had the lead at one point. I think it was on 16. Then he found the water, and had he won, I would have been really up there in some GPPs last week. Unfortunately, obviously, he didn't. But I can't fault a guy for that. I watched the end of that tournament. He really tried to, he really attacked it. He really tried to go for it and win it. I will always root for guys that do that. And if they fail, they find the water, or they find themselves in a bad spot because of it. So be it. At least they've given me a run for my money, so to speak. And Sam Burns gave me that last week.
There was a bit of that last week, wasn't there? Some golfers looked like they'd sort of had bad fourth rounds, but all it was they were just getting unlucky with really attacking the pins, and other guys just got lucky. And I know you could say that to some degree every week, but they don't always attack the pins in that way, the way they were going about it. And that's the nature of the fact that it's such a low-scoring contest, or high-scoring, depending how you look at it. Well, that won't be the case this week. The other thing I was going to say to you, actually, you brought it up. I'm glad you did. Scotty and round 4.
He was very good in round 4.
But he was relatively low-owned, wasn't he? Because he had such a bad. And this is something which I don't know if we've discussed it on the show or whether it was on the ones I missed. But I know we discussed it, you, me, and Nick, in the sort of golf off season. It's people aren't playing sometimes these really good golfers in Showdown because they've had bad rounds beforehand or something like that, and especially a high priced one like Scotty and stuff. And there's definitely an edge there to be had in Showdowns, I think. And
speaking of Showdown, I'm dropping cores daily, obviously from Thursday to Sunday normally. When the event is, it's going to be Wednesday to Saturday this week, but I'm dropping them in our Discord, and the one that I dropped on Sunday had Kevin Yu in it, and he shot a 9 under par round on the Sunday. So
I did very well of those last week. Your calls, I did. Obviously, it's half your calls, half my own lineups. Used your core, and then I played Scotty on Sunday as well in that with that core, cashed and stuff. So they've been on fire. Actually, I've only really been paying attention to them in the last couple of tournaments because I've only been playing for the last couple of tournaments. But I can only think off the top of my head of one sort of bad week. There was bad one. Yeah, there was one bad one, but that's about it. And I think
but there's always, I have no control over these golfers. As I say, there's always a reasoning behind the picks that I make. I never just go in there and go, this guy, I'm just playing this guy, blah, 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 blah. There's always reasoning behind these golfers. Like they've probably had strong approach plays and strong around the green plays the day before, but they've been awful putting, so to speak. So the putting's just such a weird stat. It can turn on a dime, basically. So also shout out to Model Maniac, who I've been. We did a bit of a little swap. So I let him have a look at the tracker last week, and then he let me have a look at his models that he does basically for Showdown purposes, and that's where I got a lot of the stats from last week for the Showdown purposes, and they were very good last week. As I say, I got Kevin Yu. I don't think I would have got to Kevin Yu on Sunday without looking at his model.
He was in your Saturday core as well, wasn't he?
He was, He smashed on both days.
Yeah. He was very good value. 6'4", I think he was, or no, he was 6'3" in the whole con. He was 6'4" in the things, and he was 6'3", I think, in the the actual 4-day classic event. Talking of your tracker, I think people should sign up to it if they haven't already. I think now would be a good time to sign up to it. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Cheers, Mark.
Yeah, cheers.
There's £7.50 if you want to sign up to it. It's we've got loads of confirmed fields, and there's lots of work still going into it, and it's getting better and better I'm updating it constantly, so it's at present it cannot be any more up to date than what it is.
Nah, I was literally on it just before I did the show because we have to get everything done a day early this week, and due to the fact I'm going to be very busy tomorrow, I had to look at it all, and it's just absolutely valuable. To be honest with you, I don't know how you can play any season-long contests without a tracker like that. I just don't know how people are doing it. But there you go.
Yep.
I'm preaching to the converted here, probably, because almost everybody watches this is probably signed up.
Probably.
Yeah. The newsletter for this week is already out. If you're not signed up for that, go to at PFD Show. You can sign up there for the newsletter. It's free. It's got everything on it that you could possibly want. Some of the stuff we talk about tonight, but lots of extra detail there. Core from Jack, Sexy Sixers from Jack. Actually, it's all Jack at the moment.
It's tea times, weather,
there's
bets, there's course previews, there's listener leagues, there's a recap of what happened last week in golf, then a little preview of what's coming up and things like that. So there's everything you could want in there, and it's completely free. Don't know why, but it's completely free.
And people will be shocked to find out you actually have a job as well, Jack. This isn't your job. So, between that and the tracker, and you have a family, which is even more of a shock with all the time you use up on these things.
It is.
And you give it away, and he gives it away for free.
But it's a labour of love. I love doing it.
Anyway, I'm not going to give you more stick about how you don't charge for stuff on air. We can continue that afterwards. Have we dealt with all the admin? We'll start talking about this week's Farmers Insurance Open. Back to something a little bit more resembling a normal contest. Jack, I've no doubt we've got a very detailed course preview to go through.
Well, we are going to one of my most favourite golf courses in the world, Torrey Pines. They will play both Torrey Pines golf courses this week. One round on Torrey Pines North and one round on Torrey Pines South. I'll go through Torrey Pines North first because that's the easier of the two. This is the one that you want to build showdown lineups around. So over the last 5 years, I looked at a stat earlier. Torrey Pines North has played 2 strokes easier on average compared to Torrey Pines South. So you need to. I will literally be building. I will literally be playing 6 players that are playing on Torrey Pines North to start for my showdown lineups for the first 2 days. Mayo actually dropped a stat earlier. I'm just trying to think of it. They'll do 2 tee starts on that, so they'll start on 1 and 1, and they'll start on 10 as well. You want your golfers starting on T1 on Torrey Pines North because there's a good chance that you can get a birdie run between 9, 10 and 11. Obviously, if it's the other way, you can't get that birdie run. So if you start on 10, you're going to finish on 9. You can't get the birdie run, theoretically, which you get more bonus points for in Showdown. So I will be targeting guys that are teeing off 1 on Torrey Pines North on both days, Wednesday and Thursday this week. So Torrey Pines North, it's in California. It's a William P. Bell designed golf course. The Tom Westcott redesign in 2016. It's a par 72 at 7,258 yards long. No hazards on this place, like no water hazards. There's a few bunkers scattered about here and there. We've got the fairways are Kikuyu with ryegrass, the same as the rough, and the greens are pure bent grass greens on the North course. The likely cut here will be 2 over par. Likely winning score is going to be about 13 under par. That's for the whole tournament as a whole. I'll come back to that again in a minute. Sorry. The South course, Torrey Pines South, again located in California on the same property. Again, it's a William P. Bell design. Yeah, the Reece Jones redesign in 2019. It's a par 72 at 7,765 yards long. It's a beast of a golf course, Torrey Pines South. Water comes into play on one of the holes here. The fairways are Kaiku again with ryegrass, as is the rough. The rough is very thick, especially on Torrey Pines South. And the greens are Poa on the South course. So 2 different types of greens complexes we got going on here. The South course is certainly the more acclaimed of the two golf courses. It's hosted the US Open twice, won by Tiger Woods in 2008 and John Rahm in 2021. As I've said, the North is easier of the two, and this is where golfers will have to go low if they're going to make the cut really this week. So yeah, that's the one I'm definitely targeting for Showdown. Course as a whole, like I said, Torrey Pines South is the one that I know best. It's my favourite golf course. It's one of my favourite golf courses, probably one of the top 5 golf courses in the world, to be honest, Torrey Pines South. A lot of architectural people hate it because the holes are very similar. I like it because the fairways are very thin. Like they're very thin fairways. The rough is deep. I like punishing deep rough. The rough's going to be very deep this week because we've had a lot of rain in the area. They'll cut it once before the tournament and then that's it. But when I say they'll cut it down to about 3.5 inches and then it's just going to grow over the 4 days again. It's fairly open. You can bomb it as such around here and find yourself in, like, you could bomb it wide right and find yourself on the other fairway coming down the other way, for example. So there's different ways to attack this golf course, but you can find yourself in a hell of a lot of trouble on Torrey Pines South. If you find that rough, that is the problem. So that is it kind of as a golf course. I love it. Like I say, it's one of my top 5 golf courses in the world. I love this tournament. I don't care that it's played over 2 golf courses. I think it makes it quite interesting because North is so much easier compared to the South. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A US Open venue, and this is a traditional US Open venue. This is one of the venues where they set it up brutally hard for the golfers.
Brilliant. Am I right? I read somewhere, could have been on Lee Aldrich's account, that one of the South course has been changed a bit since last year. Is that correct? One of the
so there is contradicting reports of this.
Okay.
The greens on the South have been changed to POA, to bent grass as well. But when I looked at something earlier, it said there is a mix of the two. I'm just going to play it like they're POA. I don't really care, to be honest. I still think they're probably 75% POA, if that. So yeah, I've kind of seen the same thing, but
also it's statistically quite a sticky course, as in people who've played here before do quite well as well. I think I saw something somewhere about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool sources here that have played well. Tony Finau being one. Hideki Matsuyama's played well here over the years. Jason Day's another one. Typical. When I think of those golfers, well, especially Finau and Matsuyama, I just think of bombers off the tee. If you're a bomber off the tee around this place, you can really, really get after it.
So, I think I know some of the answers to some of this based on what you've just said about the preview. But what are you looking for in your model in particular this week?
So driving distance, the South course is super long and narrow, and the golfers this week don't want to be playing out of the rough, like I mentioned. Like the thing is, because it's so long, if they get into the rough, they're going to be playing their second shots in from 200 yards away. You do not want to be playing out of the rough from 200 yards away. Torrey Pines ranked 11th in rough penalties last year, with even of the most accurate drivers, last year, missing the fairways. Distance becomes a central factor, as it's much easier to hack a 9-iron out of Kakura rough compared to a 5-iron, as I just mentioned. So driving distance is very key for me here. Like I say, you can bomb it and you don't have to be particularly accurate, and you can get away with it around Torrey Pines. So it's a massive advantage. Strokes gained approach, proximity 150 to 200 yards I'm looking at. Like I just mentioned there, that's where predominantly, because it's so long, a lot of the second shots are going to be coming from that sort of range into the greens. You need to be good from that range. You'll be pressed to find another course on the PGA Tour where long iron play is more important than Torrey Pines, to be honest. I build my model mainly around the South. It worked out last year. I had Max Homer as an outright bet last year and he won. So it works out. It was another one on my model that's don't touch it, leave it alone. Strokes gained around the green, I'm looking at good drive percentage, strokes gained putting on POA, and strokes gained off the tee on long golf courses. That's what I'm looking at this week. It's a very sort of simple model for me again. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at this week.
Cool. They play the South 3 times, don't they, if they get through?
Yeah, they'll play the South 3 times. So you have Wednesday you'll have so many guys going off north, and then the Wednesday guys will play the south on the Thursday, and then vice versa.
Yeah. And just in case you don't know, the reason it starts on Wednesday is because of the NFL Conference Championship games on Sunday, isn't it? To avoid them.
That's
Same way
correct,
in 2 weeks' time, the same thing happens then to avoid Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep.
Cool. So let's start talking about some players, Jack. I find this a very interesting this week because I'm seeing a lot of value in the sort of middle ranges here. Anyway,
Yep.
Who do you want to talk about first, Jack?
I was going to say, just before we get into the players, the weather this week, there's been a hell of a lot of rain in the area. So this course is going to play soft compared to what it normally does, which soft on the north course is fine because it's shorter and you can go low on it. In fact, being soft on the north will be great. But being soft on the south course is going to be a bit of a disadvantage. You're going to have to find some grinders to get around that. But during the actual tournament itself, I've had a good look at the weather. There's not really a lot to worry about. The wind gusts only get up between 6 and 12 miles per hour most of the week. There's 20% chance of rain on the Thursday, but that's all I've kind of seen really. There's not a lot. There's no bad weather through the tournament as such. It's sort of relatively calm and normal conditions for this time of year in the area.
Cool. Okay, let's start talking some players then. Who do you want to talk about first?
Max Homer. I'm going back to Max Homer again this year. I think he's going to win again. I think he's going to go back to back. He loves the West Coast of America. Has recorded 4 wins in the state of California alone. At present, I'm seeing him coming in as one of the lowest owned golfers in the range that he's in. I don't really understand that. Why? I see people flocking to Xander. I get it. I know he finished 3rd last week at the Amex, but he doesn't. I think Xander's a bit of a plodder as such around the golf course, whereas I think Max Homer will give me a run for my money and go at it if he's in contention. Cantlay was very poor on the Sunday at Amex last week. He finished 52nd, so I don't really get why people are going back to him. And then Morikawa's been in decent form, but I just there's something about Homer. I love him on the West Coast of America. Like I say, he's got 4 wins in this state alone. He's coming off a pretty decent full swing, like I mentioned on one of our first shows this year. He won on the DP World Tour. He finished T14 at Century to start this season. Homer ranks number 1 in putting on POA greens from this field over the last 3 years, and he's number 1 in strokes gained on approach over his last 32 rounds from this field as well. I was happy to play him before I saw the ownership, to be honest. He was going to be one of my locks all week, and then I saw the ownership discount I was getting, and I'm just going straight back to him. I don't care. He's ranks number 2 in my model. I'm playing Max Homer this week. I don't care.
Yeah, I've got him. He's number 3 in mine. I do love. I love him as well. The only knock I would have is I just worry if he's just not played enough yet this season. But
I'm not counting anything from last week really. That doesn't really bother me at all. That was just weird. The Amex is just a weird tournament. I get nothing from that event.
No. I was curious in this range though, what you're gonna if you're interested in Ludwig Aberg, because we had a discussion many times how you think he's going to hit a rookie wall.
Well, I think I've been proven right so far.
Yeah, but he sets up very well here, doesn't he?
He does.
And so, are you interested in him this week?
I'm not, because I've still got that narrative on him that I think he's going to hit a rookie wall. I think I've been proven right on that so far to start the season. If people want to go to him, this is probably the spot you do it. This is the perfect golf course for Ludwig. It's John Rahm's had a lot of success on this golf course, for example. And Ludwig reminds me of John Rahm, the way he drives the ball and things like that. But it's not a knock on the guy. I think he's going to be a very good golfer. I think he's going to have a very good career. But this kind of thing happens, They hit the rookie rule, and I just think it continues. If he beats me, he beats me. But I won't play Ludwig this week.
Fine. I definitely have him in my pool. It's up there and stuff. I'm I'm with you on Homer. The rest of them I kind of feel becomes an ownership play if I'm going to play anybody else up here. Especially this time of the season and stuff, you're really not sure exactly. You haven't got any form per se to go with. So, definitely an ownership play for me. Coming down a little bit, I'm always going to be interested in Minwoo Lee at the moment. I play him in pretty much every time I can at the moment. He's just been smashing everything on the World Tour, DP World Tour, as a couple of other guys I'm going to talk about. Eric Cole's another one around there I'm interested in as well. He must been Mr. Consistent. So yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Jack, but I'm generally starting my lineups with very balanced this week, all around the 9s and the 8s.
Well, I'm really starting at the top, like I say, with Max Homer. I generally start at the top with one of those guys with whatever the week involves, to be honest. And then you just find that those guys normally condense each other anyway with the ownership. We always find that happens. But yeah, I will start with Homer. Homer will be the guy I'm starting with in a lot of lineups this week. I'm a little bit worried and scared off of Minwoo Lee just because of the approach numbers. The approach numbers have been very poor. But he is very good off the tee, and he's very, very good around the greens. And Torrey Pines demands golfers to be good around the green. So he ranks very high in that category. I could probably get some Minwoo Lee, but I think he's probably more of a GPP play for me. Minwoo Lee.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play Eric Cole this week, to be honest.
Okay.
I saw some bad signs last week that I didn't really like. And he's got a bad. Well, he's played this course once, missed the cut last year. So yeah, I'm gonna stay away. I can see him coming in around the 15% mark. I know we've got the ownership down here at 11 at the minute, but I think he'll probably get up to about 15% because he's always very popular. I'm gonna actually stay away from him this week, which is the first week in a long time.
Yeah, that will be a bit of a surprise. There's a couple of players who just are automatic at the moment. Another one who's automatic for me, just especially in cash games, is Steven Yeager down at 7-8. I still think he's too cheap.
And I don't see why here though, hasn't he?
Yeah, terrible. Absolutely. Terrible here. But I don't think he's the same player now than he was, and we often say that about some of these players.
Yeah.
But he's so consistent with the cut making. I don't know how you can just at that price as well. I don't know how you can. I think you just keep playing him till he fails.
Yeah, I think he's fine for cash. I would probably play Steven Yeager in cash. I don't think I'm going to touch him in GPPs. My second guy actually is Harris English, who's coming in quite low owned. Now, I mentioned that there's been a lot of rain in the area, and when I think of Harris English, I think of a player that's very good at scrambling and very good on the approach. He's very good at putting the ball in the correct position on greens, not getting too aggressive. Making his putts and things like that, which is probably why he's done so well at US Open venues across the years, including here. When the US Open was here in 2021, he finished T3. Now, they set the US Open up a lot harder than what it's going to be set up for this week. Granted, the last couple of visits here have been poor, 2 missed cuts, but I'd say he's in a lot better form than what he was on those visits. And we have to remember he's been carrying a couple of little niggling injuries over the last couple of years, which seem to have gone away now. He seems to be a lot healthier, and that's proven by his start to the season with a T14 at the Century and the T10 at Sony. I like him this week, and he's coming in very low owned in that 8K range there. I'm quite happy to take a stab on him in GPPs, and I think as long as it's soft and soggy conditions, I think this course is set up perfectly for him to succeed this week.
So I'm assuming it's his course history, and in fact, he's not the longest off the tee, which is putting people off him. Because other than that, I mean, his accuracy is absolutely fantastic, which again is something which is a benefit with the fairways, smaller fairways here. It's just been so consistent; it's absolutely mental. So I don't know why he's so low owned in that range. And at that price, he's a great cash play as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many guys. I mean, you got guys. Figala always gets steam, and his weakness, like at centrally, is probably not going to be a massive issue here because he sprays it off the tee for Gala. So he's weakness won't really be a main issue here. Sepp Stracker's getting a lot of steam. I do like Sepp Stracker this week, I must say, as well. But yeah, like you say, within that range, like, I don't think English is any worse. In fact, I'd probably say he's a better player than those other two that I've just mentioned, to be honest, in general. And if it's going to be, it has to be how I want it to be, like the wet and soggy conditions, like I think it's going to be. If it's like that, he's the perfect golfer because he just won't do anything stupid. It'll just be middle of the green. I'll take what's given to me. I'll make 3 or 4 putts in the round. I'll finish the round off 2 or 3 under or whatever I need to do. I'll get through to the cut and then I'll probably get a top 10 finish. And I will take that all day long at a low ownership there.
Yeah, especially that price as well.
Yep.
I absolutely loving my DP World Tour guys this week. So talking about that range, Højgaard and Meronk, I love them both this week. Neither of them have played here before, but I think that's not really putting me off particularly here, especially not those prices. They don't necessarily need to win for me.
Bombers off the tee.
Yeah, I just absolutely. It wasn't deliberate when you start doing your statistical analysis and everything like that in your models. It wasn't deliberate to try and just liking DP World Tour guys, but like they just kept coming up. Doesn't matter how I look at it. Anybody else before we start looking at really cheap players, Jack?
I mean, I was quite impressed with what I saw from Daniel Berger last week. I know coming off that injury, finishing T39. Did finish T20 here in 2022 as well, so there's signs there. I am one of them people that if you show me something, then I could probably get to you. So maybe in GPPs I might take a stab at Daniel Berger. I won't play Seabears. He'll come in higher owned than that projected ownership is at the minute, just because of a second place finish last week. I don't think this course is particularly set up very well for him. He's very short off the tee as well, and I think that's going to do him no favours around here.
But he doesn't have the accuracy to go with it particularly either. His accuracy is very, very average. If you're going to be shorter off the tee, you need accuracy, don't you? Really?
Yeah, exactly. And so I won't be playing him. Willie Z's obviously got very good course history here, 2nd and 7th. But he did miss the cut in 2023. Obviously, he was very injured last year. Did show some signs of life as well, like Daniel Berger last week. So if you want to take stabs on Willie Z, I just can't play Willie Z.
I'm not there yet. Yet.
Not myself either. Not coming off the injury that he's come off. I play golf. I know what that injury is all about. So.
I don't particularly play golf, but I know very well that a back injury is not going to be conducive. But we need to see a little bit more from him, don't we? I think do anyway. Having said that, if you're playing 150 lineups, I'd really get having a couple with him in there, just in case you can get him before everybody else does. Because as we know, once he does come back, he's going to be very popular, and he's also not going to be 8,000 again. Or whatever it is. Is he 8,000? Yeah, he's 8,000. That's not going to happen again. You would think all this stuff about bombers and everything, that Keith Mitchell would be a guy you feel quite confident playing, but he's got 4 missed cuts in the last 5 years here.
Yeah, I'm not playing him. I know he played well. Yeah, I know he played well last week, but I won't be playing him around this golf course. Like you mentioned it already, Mark, that you need to be. There's a bit of course history that goes into this place, so. I can't play him coming off of 4 missed cuts here. No,
but it's weird. You would think statistically this would set up for him.
Well,
check out his core history and stuff.
Yep. He didn't play it last year.
No, I found that really surprising when I was doing my research. Do you want to talk about anybody particular? Because that's your 3 main core players we've done there. Do you want to talk about anybody particularly cheap?
No, but my main core was it. No. So my main core was Max Homer and Harris English, and I've got another one that's 7-3. It's Michael Kim, who's arguably in the best form of his career, and he now returns home to San Diego. Not many people are talking about this. They're talking about all these other guys coming home down onto the West Coast and things like that, but. This is his home course. He's made his last 5 cuts, highlighted by a T6 finish last week at the American Express. He's got a bit of a mixed bag on this golf course. He's missed the cut, made the cut in the last. He has made the cut on his last 2 visits, but it's sort of been middle of the pack finishes. The difference is I think he's a much better golfer now than what he was then. His recent form's been pretty much put down to decent approach play. Recently, especially over the last sort of 12 rounds or so, he's a relatively long, sort of average tour driver. You know, he's not massive, but he's not below the barrel, so to speak. And he kind of does everything I want for around here. And I certainly think he can improve on the finishes that he's had over the last 2 times he's been here. So he's the third man into my core this week, coming in sort of around about 6% ownership at the minute. He's just on a very good run as well. Like, he's made 5 of his last 5 cuts. Yeah, five events, 5 cuts made. Couple of T20 finishes there as well. So I like Michael Kim. I think he's in very good form, and he's my third man into the core.
Did you see his tweet about him being missed off a list of being?
I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. I can't remember who did it, but he was like, they've forgotten I went to school here or whatever or something like that. It was funny. He's always good value on Twitter, actually, Michael Kim.
Yeah, he is. So is Benny Ann.
Yes, it's Benny Ann. Go and check out his tweet about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Definitely worthwhile. That was very good. What's good about the golfers is they kind of allow, because of the nature of it, it's not a team sport. They kind of just tweet as they want to, don't they? Really, which I always find which is fine good. We've seen that with Tyrrell over the years, and our good old friend Eddie Pep. Okay, now do we want to go to anybody cheap?
Yeah, so getting to the Sixers. When I got down here, I didn't like a lot, and then I just looked at. I thought, do you know what? Let me find the Bombers down there, because that's what. Yeah. And then the Bombers that succeeded on this golf course. So the first guy I found was Joseph Bramlett. Actually, the recent form's been a bit mixed. We got a missed cut last week at the Amex, which again I'm not really taking a lot. I'm not taking a lot of that into account. Last week at the Amex, 13 under par cut. I don't care. T52 at Sony. But he has found success at this golf course with 2 top 20 finishes in his last 3 starts here. He ranks 8th in driving distance from the field, which has set him up for another solid week this week. He's probably one of my favourite options down in the 6K range.
And what's also weird, funny about him is, despite the poor finishes, last 32 rounds, he's statistically green across the board on the weighted strokes gained. But his results aren't showing that at the moment. So that would imply there's some sort of luck. You know, maybe he's having a bad run, as it were, not form-wise, but just luck-wise. Literally getting no ownership at the moment. He is, as most of these guys do down here. I really struggle to find people I like down here at all.
I've got a couple more if you want.
Yeah, well, I just one guy who I don't get. He seems to be getting a bit of steam. I assume it because it's his length off the tee. Is Tiger Semikawa?
Yeah, I mean, I put him in the newsletter. He's boom or bust. He's he ranks 3rd from this field in driving distance. Again, a mixed start to the season. He's got a missed cut last week, but he finished T30 at Sony. I was surprised to see that he'd played this golf course before as well. He finished T67 last year, which is dead last, dead last, as they say. I think he's very boom or bust. I think he could get you a T30, but I also think he could probably shoot about 20 over par. So he's one of them. He's a GPP play for me, but I did put him in the newsletter myself. Yeah,
I've heard he's been getting a little bit of steam. I expect his ownership to be one of the highest ones here in the Sixers, to be honest, based on the podcasts I've been listening to. So who else have you got for us?
Peter Malnati, true cool source here, with finishes of T10, T25 and T20 in his last 3 trips. He's very minimal price this week. The recent form's been bad, but Malnati is a very solid wedge player and very solid putter actually as well. So that's probably why he's done well on this golf course in his last 3 trips, to be honest. Again, he's at 6'4" for a reason. The miscut there is, is there probably for all to see come Thursday. But the history on this golf course and what he does well could see him well this week. So I don't mind Peter Malnati. A couple more I'll just shout out. Alejandro, these guys are just bombers. Alejandro Tosti, who's my new favourite Argentinian lunatic. Bobby Mack, I'll quite happily go back again. I don't care he missed the cut last week. I think Bobby Mack's probably a golfer that is more suited to this type of golf course where it's going to be low, not so high scoring. It's going to be a grind fest, and I think Bobby Mack should set up well for that. Callum Tarrant, actually, like, he's boom or bust though. He's probably like Tiger Semikawa, but he bombs it off the tee. Cameron Champ, another one who's boom or bust, but again, dude bombs it off the tee, and he's got decent history here. And Kevin Doherty, who was inside the top 15 for my driving distance stats that I was looking at here. So yeah, that's my sort of guys I've been looking at down in this range.
Yeah, the Peter Malnati course history just sticks out like a sore thumb down here, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Absolutely crazy. As does is that Kevin Streelman's as well. He's in terrible form. You're not going to play him, are you? So yeah.
No,
there we go.
No.
There we go. That 40 minutes has gone ridiculously quickly. It feels like we just started the pod. So just to reiterate, sign up to the newsletter. There's more information in there. Just to remind everybody, it's tomorrow. I think it's about 4 or 5 o'clock our time. I think is the lock.
Yes.
DraftKings.
It's about 4:30, I think, our time tomorrow.
Sign up to that. If you're not signed up to Tracker and you're playing anything season long, then I suggest you sign up for that. All this information can be found at PFD Show. Jack, you can find at JH4Do Media. Any last words of wisdom, Jack, before we sign off?
No, I'm just looking forward to getting on a golf course that I love, and this is where the real golf starts for me now. This week, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to a 2-round cut because that's my favourite part of DFS, without a doubt, is that sweat. I think next week we'll be a 3-ball again. So
we're off to Pebble next week.
Yep. Until then, we will see you next Tuesday.